Finding the right employment lawyer can be a confusing process, but today we're going to try and simplify the process for you. Hi, I'm Tom Spiggle with the Spiggle Law Firm, where we help people who have been fired or afraid that they might be. Maybe our law firm is right for you, or maybe it isn't. Maybe you're not in our location. So that's why we're going to help you learn how to find an employment lawyer on your own today. The first resource I would recommend is NELA.org. That's NELA.org. Just go to your browser and type NELA.org and it will take you to their homepage. NELA is an organization that is made up exclusively of lawyers who represent employees in employment-related matters and advocates for laws and policies that level the playing field for workers. Now, when you are at NELA's homepage, scroll down to Find a Lawyer and click the Learn More button. It should take you to the Find a Lawyer page where there is helpful information at the top. In order to search for a lawyer, do not use the search tab at the bar at the top. Instead, scroll down to Search Tips section of the page itself. You can enter both your city and state, however broad your search you want it to be, or you can just enter your state. Next, move on to the following section, Practice Areas. Here you can narrow down which practice areas you are looking for. So if you are dealing with wrongful termination, you can go down to this button and click Wrongful Termination, and so on. Then, once you've done this, click Find a Lawyer at the bottom of the page. Now, an important note here is that lawyers pay to be on this site, so they may not have exactly what you are looking for. But with that being said, you can assume most of these lawyers are experienced and know what they are doing because a certain amount of their practice has to be dedicated to representing employees. This also means that there may be employment lawyers in your area that aren't on this list because they haven't joined NELA or are paid to be on this page. NELA may not be a complete list of lawyers in your area, but it's a great place to start. If you want a more state-specific list, you can go to your browser search bar and search for your state followed by Employment Lawyer Association. This is basically a state-specific NELA site, but the search will likely be even broader than NELA's. So I'm going to type in California Employment Lawyers Association and click the link that takes me to CELA.org and then click Find a Lawyer right there at the top of the page. That'll bring you to the page giving you information about attorneys on their site. And after reading that, click Search. It will then take you to a similar page as NELA's and just enter your information in the spaces provided. Now you can do this for any state. There are great places to start, but they aren't your only resources. And understand that some states don't have state-specific NELA associations. If that's the case, you just want to use the NELA site itself. The next place you can look is avvo.com. Just type in avvo.com in the URL bar at the top of your browser. You can either scroll down to the bottom where you can select your practice area. As you can see, they have several areas, not just employment law, and you can click one of the buttons under the employment law section. Or you can just start at the top and click the search bar and there enter your practice area. To the right of the text box, you can select your state. So let's say that we're in Virginia, and then I'm going to type wrongful termination and click Enter or press the blue search button. This will bring up a very broad list of attorneys, broader than NELA and state-level organizations. But that doesn't mean that these attorneys don't know what they're doing. You can see ratings, practice areas, and more information about these lawyers here. Also on the avvo.com website, at the very bottom, they have a chat function. So if you're finding difficulty searching on your own, you can go to the chat function and type in your questions there, and you can get a representative to help you walk through finding an employment lawyer on their site. I would certainly recommend starting at one of these sites before I'd start at a general Google search. Google can be a great place to search, but it's going to give you everything under the sun, and it's better to get a more narrow list where you have a third party, whether it's Avvo or NELA or one of the other sites, who have suggested a lawyer for you. Then after that, you can go back and do a Google search if you want, but I'd start with a targeted search first. Another great resource for finding attorneys in your area are local bar associations. Most counties have these, certainly Washington, D.C. does, Fairfax County, Arlington, Alexandria. You can go to the bar association, you can just type it into Google. Let's say you wanted to find the Fairfax County Bar Association, you just type that into Google and it will pull it up. And the bar associations often have what are called lawyer referral services, where sometimes there's a no charge or a minimal charge, and you fill out some information, perhaps talk to someone, and then they will either send you a list of lawyers or connect you with someone. This can be a good way to find lawyers who are up and coming, who don't have a big marketing budget yet. There are also some good seasoned attorneys too. As with any of these searches, it's a little bit of buyer's beware. Just because the bar puts you in touch with somebody doesn't mean they're the best lawyer for you, but it's a good place to start. For those people who are in Northern Virginia, I really recommend the Fairfax County Bar Association. They have a lawyer referral service. They're very active and they do a good job of trying to match you with somebody who can address your question, and then you pay a nominal fee to get a half-hour consultation with an attorney. Other bar associations are different, but it's a good idea to include those in your search. Another resource that I haven't used much, but I know some people have, is going to a Reddit or a subreddit for employment law. You can ask questions there. There's some employment lawyers on the site, including people who have consulted with employment lawyers, and you can get some recommendations there for how to find an attorney. So that's another resource you may want to check out in your online research. And then finally, you can just do a general Google search or whatever function you use to do searching on your computer. I think most of us use Google. Of course, that's going to pull up your widest range of attorneys. A couple of tips for doing a general Google search. One, you can always, if you find an attorney that you find their website interesting, you can go back to Avvo or you can go back to one of these other sites and see if you can find them listed there. Might give you some more information. Generally, Google obviously is going to give you their webpage. A good webpage does mean something. It's not the end all and be all of picking good lawyer, but if they have a good webpage, particularly if they have written on the area of employment law, that should be a sign to you this is something that they focus on. You want to check to see if they represent employees. A lot of what you'll pull up if you just do a general Google search for employment lawyer are lawyers who represent employers. Now, there are attorneys who do both, but you're definitely going to pull up some of the bigger firms and all they do is represent employers. So it's not going to generally do you a lot of good to call one of those firms. So you want to read through their website, get a sense of whether or not they represent employees or employers or both. You can, of course, look at their Google reviews. That again is not a determinative. Just because somebody doesn't have a bunch of Google reviews or any at all doesn't necessarily mean anything. But if they've got a lot of good Google reviews that you find persuasive, that can be helpful. And just remember, anybody can put anything on their website. So one thing you can do is always call the firm and see what kind of treatment do you get. Are you treated with respect? Do they call you back quickly? Do they seem to understand what issues you're talking about? Do they understand that you have an employment law issue and that you're an employee? And lawyers that do this work a lot, that should show through on their webpage and in their intake and everything that they do. So Google can be a great place to search. You're going to cast the net wide there, and you're going to get a bunch of firms who either don't do plaintiff side, represent employees, or they may not be in your area, or they may just not be in a good firm. So a lot of buyers beware, but it's a good way to cast the net wide to see if you can catch some names that you perhaps didn't get on your other searches. And as always, it doesn't hurt to call, and ask some questions of the firm. If it's a good firm, if they're going to be somebody that's going to be good for your case, they're going to be able to answer your questions. You should be treated with respect, and those can be good signs that you're on the right track. Finally, you can visit our law firm's website at spigglelaw.com. On our homepage, you can just press the Click to Get Started button, and that will bring up our intake questionnaire. You'll just fill out your information and we will reach out to you if we can help you. And if we can't, we can provide you with information about how to find a lawyer in your area. So there are some resources to get you started on your search for an employment lawyer. I hope these have been helpful. You can leave a comment below if you still have questions about finding an attorney. Best of luck out there.